These are cave paintings. These are from a little town in France called Lascaux. Estimated to have been painted roughly 17,300 years ago. There are, let me see, roughly 2,000 different figures identified as animals, mostly horses. Here's some more. Mostly horses and many deer. This looks like a, I don't know, a buffalo or something like that. There are some abstract signs, some geometric figures. There are no landscapes of any kind. And for the most part, those two legs in different positions and these legs sort of falling behind, these same, sort of reaching out. There's a lot of motion conveyed. These animals appear to be moving. They're not standing still for a portrait or anything. They are probably running, which animals tend to do when they see human beings. This is another one from another cave in Spain, a little place called Altamira, Paleolithic era, painted somewhere between 18,500 years ago and 14,000 years ago, give or take, rounding off. Again, mostly animals, plants, some human hands. You know, those like kindergarten projects where you dip the little kids' hands in red paint or something, and then they put it on a little cork board. Sometimes if it's Thanksgiving, they'll make a little turkey out of it. Those things are adorable. Why would somebody put a human hand up on the wall? Yes, what's your name?
TJ.
Hi, TJ. I like you. Second time you talk. I'm taking notes. Hints. TJ.
So, like, they didn't know any language, like, they used a form of signature.
Interesting. They didn't know any language, so it could be a form of signature. Could be. Everybody's hand is sort of its own thing, especially in a small community, as you would tend to find living in a cave. Well before fingerprinting analysis can come along, people can say, well, you know, that broad palm, that's odd. Clearly. I would push back on the they didn't know any language thing. We don't have a lot of records of this, but my dog is kind of an idiot, but even he knows a few words. He cannot speak them, but he knows them. And he reads inflections quite well, and quite frankly, I can read his inflections quite well. Hi, what's your name?
Clemens?
Hi, Clemens.
Is it a sign of, like, a signature?
Yeah, I think it can be. I don't know. I could be way wrong on that. But the point is, these people aren't around to tell me I am. It could be. Why would you want to put your signature on something? What's your name?
Christian.
Hi, Christian.
To be remembered, just like a history book.
Interesting. To be remembered. To say, I was here. It's graffiti, essentially. It's a tag on an overpass. I was here. I am somebody. I existed. Pretty universal. 18,000 years ago, Lascaux, Altamira, fine. But I guarantee somewhere there's some kid, even at this hour, climbing an overpass and tagging his name, or, you know, declaring his eternal love for the girl that he saw on the sidewalk 5 minutes earlier. having a voice that can transcend time. But what about the non-human symbols here? What about the animals themselves? Why this? The horns on this elk. There the hell it is. Question, what's your name?
Tendon.
Hi, Ken.
Signifying event.
An event? Like what?
Like a capture of moment in history. That's like what happened.
Yeah. I went hunting the other day. This big ass elk with these gargantuan horns wandered past. That's an event. What's your name?
My name is David.
Hi, David.
You could probably, I don't know, maybe these people were like spiritual. They could be like spiritual animals or something like that.
Maybe. There are a lot of religions, particularly in the ancient world, that ascribe great religious value to animals because they're living and dying based on the presence of animals.
Or it can be like a track record of the coming generations who say that these animals are kind and friendly and they can bond with us, and then there can be certain animals that you should watch out for.
Maybe. Little guy, you know? Elks and horses, good. I don't see a whole lot of bears or lions or anything. Lions and tigers and bears, bad. They will eat you. You can eat them. Gravitate towards them. Hi, what's your name?
Angelica.
Hi, Angelica.
It could be a warning for people that come and see this. Just because running sometimes signifies getting out of a certain area. So something like an event, but maybe in a more negative way.
Maybe. Warning. A lot of dangers in the world, especially in the ancient world. You know, stuff's going on. Yeah. These horns are really impressive, and you could be really taken away. Wow, look at the beauty of that animal. And yes, it's a spiritual connection, but your connection is going to be much less spiritual if he gores you with this thing. It could be a warning. Somebody over here. Hi, what's your name?
Noel.
Hi, Noel.
It probably shows the type of animals that roam the planet back in the past.
Yeah, I would shrink that down a little. Roam the planet is a little big. What would the people painting this really be more concerned with rather than the planet? What?
Their geographic area.
Yeah, their area. If you're living in a cave in southern France, you really don't much care what's going on the other side of the world. You have no idea that there is another side of the world. There is the view outside your cave.
It could also be like an art form. Like, there was really nothing to do back then, so, you know, maybe that was their way of having fun, I guess.
Yeah. Wireless reception was notoriously bad. You gotta take your giggles where you can get it. So, yeah, you start painting. What's your name?
Kevin,
Hi, Kevin.
I was gonna say they're like recognizable creatures, so they're like kind of, I guess they do this like, just for fun.
Just for fun. Okay, yeah. Draw what you know. Write what you know. It's your basic, creative writing workshop 101. Start with what you know. And these people knew what they saw when they're staring out of that cave. This is what I know. Maybe it has a spiritual value. Maybe I am ascribing great religious import to this.
Maybe it's their symbol,
Their symbol of what?
like what represents for them as a nature, the tribe.
Maybe. Probably a tribal society, a whole bunch of people living in a single cave. There's probably another cave down the road, and maybe they have different animals on their wall. And it could be like Bloods and Crips. We wear red, they wear blue. Who knows? What's your name?
Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
So I was thinking maybe like they were paying tribute to like animals they ate or something, because like I get like kind of like a fiery vibe.
Fiery vibe?
Yeah.
An animal they
Like,
ate,
looking
you're
at,
getting
like,
fiery vibe.
Like just looking at like the paintings or whatever, like because I know back then like the natives were really into like being grateful for what they have and things like that. So they were probably like I don't know like paying tribute like thanks for the food.
Yeah. I would push back on the back then people were really into being grateful for what they have. I would suggest that human nature is really a little bit more of a constant, and people are grateful for what they have, sometimes more, sometimes less, but you know, the human instinct, I think we will find, is much more consistent. Idealizing people in the past and saying, well, they were much more grateful, they were much more pious, they were more connected to the land, they were just better people all around. That's a little, we're going to have to get over that. That's a hump in front of you, quite honestly, that we're going to plow over the next couple of months, because we're going to see a lot of human nature consistency, that they were just as petty and vindictive and bloodthirsty as we tend to be. Let's not valorize them just because they were around 18,000 years ago. But there is something ennobling in this portrait. These portraits of reality, we can start to make some judgments about the people who painted them, or at least who woke up every day and saw them. Animals were important to them. I will repeat, there are no landscapes on these cave drawings. It's not just them looking out and seeing the view, because let's face it, in most of the day, that's probably going to be an empty landscape, a nice field somewhere, maybe a river, a couple of hills in the background. That doesn't mean anything. At this stage of humanity, 18,000 years ago, what is likely their primary concern when they wake up in the morning?
I'm making sure they have enough meat to eat.
Mm-hmm. Same concern I had. What the hell am I going to eat?
I was thinking about like passing your ideas to the next generation, and I think because like
That's probably after the eating. Quite frankly, I wake up, I'm hungry, and then I start to think, do I really care about my kids? It's that order. And if those kids try and wake me before I eat, oh yeah. Question, what's your name?
Katie,
Hi, Katie.
it's like their only way to survive.
Yeah. Animals are clothing. Animals are food. If you're living in a cave, these are your concerns. These are your primary concerns. Bleeding into that, you start to get senses of spirituality, senses of morality, senses of identity, and the human urge to leave your mark somewhere. All of these are visible in these paintings. It could just be concern for passing on your values to the next generation, telling your kids and everybody else who's going to follow you living in that cave, because life expectancy probably isn't terribly long. When you look out of the cave, you might see one of these things. That's good. You want to see these. They're big, their skin is warm and can cover a lot of people, and that's enough meat to last for a month. These are their values. This is what they want to pass on to their kids. Over time, perhaps, yeah, you're going to start to get that spiritual sense. That sense of, okay, you know, this isn't just meat. This is something else. This is a sign that somewhere, something, the earth, in some way, maybe cares about me. Because if I didn't have this stuff, I'd be dead. There are no alternatives there. Somehow, the earth is providing this for me. Maybe it is a spiritual quality beyond the earth. Maybe it is a spiritual entity within or through the earth. But it has meaning. And I, as the artist, am going to record that. I'm going to put that down for future generations to understand. It could be very simply the next guy in the cave who's going to say, oh, okay, yeah, we want to get one of these to eat. Or it could be someone, oh, I don't know, much more modern, like only 15,000 years ago, so that they too have that record. Oh, okay, this is special, this is important, this is what I need to look out for. These are the values of my community. And we have access to that. We can use that, as we have been doing, to try and reconstruct in our own minds some image, some understanding of what the hell was going on in their heads. We don't have access to those people. We have this stuff. But by dwelling on it and trying to come up with different ways of reading this, we can start to make suppositions, conjectures, determinations, deductions. What the hell were they thinking? We're allowed to do that. There's nobody who can come around and say, we're wrong. We don't have an opposing viewpoint from an eyewitness account. It's a freebie. We can say whatever we want. We can say that this is a sign of concern for later generations. We can even say that this is a sign for people on the other side of the world, even if you don't think that the world has sides at that point. We can say that it's spiritual. We can say that it's driven by hunger. We can say all of these things in trying to flesh out my or our understanding of that people, that culture, that historical moment, even in prehistoric times. And this is where it gets interesting for you. This is where we come up with, follow me now. I'm coming over here. I know it's hard to see over there, but this big S with two lines down the middle. This is a symbol just like this. What does that mean? Money! Now I'm waking you up. Money. This class has a dollar value attached to it, and I don't mean your tuition. It means that in your professional life, which will happen entirely within the so-called age of information, you will be repeatedly confronted with chunks of information that your boss, who makes more money than you do and no longer has to do the grunt work, will expect you to condense, analyze, and communicate that analysis back to you. Everything we've been doing for the last 15 minutes is geared towards that. Everything we've been doing for the last 15 minutes is about confronting a chunk of information and trying to speculate what's going on here. What's this really about? Your boss will be coming to you with boxes of documents and say, I don't have time to read all of these. Go through them and tell me the takeaway. Give me the gist. Condense it so that I understand. Give me an interpretation of that material. This is your value. In the information age, we have lots of information. Google anything and you will get 7 billion hits. But it's all worthless unless somebody can put it together for your particular perspective or the perspective of the guy who's signing your checks. This skill of figuring out what's happening, what's going on, what's it about, that gets you not your first job, but the next job, the promotion, the raise, the bigger office, the first class seat to those presentations in lands far, far away. Or you could just stay in a cubicle. What we will be doing for the next 4 months will be sharpening your skills for this exercise, for confronting somewhat confusing texts and making sense of them. That's it.